and they are looking toward a septic system for the place, and they don't have much land, quite frankly. And the dollhouse that we refer to them, they appears to sit on the best ideal circumstances they've got for locating a septic property. There was not a clear delineation between what we refer to as the dollhouse property and the church property. The deed you gave me seems to convey what I conveyed to you and does not show properly on that survey. That's my opinion. Go ahead from there, Richard, and
Why don't we leave that also comment?
Yeah. And since I've seen you, I got a hold of Roy Saban and had a lengthy discussion with him. And he said that
I know where we are.
quit claim deed to that piece of property, as far as he was, what he could see, and I'll finish this whole thing, just give me the time to explain what I want to explain. He said that they sold this to the town for $1 in 1919, the Wentworth Congregational Church. But the stickler is, the church didn't own it. The Meeting House Association owned it. And he says that deed, he says, is useless. That was his words. He said, he said, it was such a, he had a case in Haverhill that they've been working on that's just the same thing. And he said that they had no right to sell it because they didn't own it. And in 1920, the Congregational Church bought the Wakefield property, and he said that he doesn't think that we would, he said he didn't think that if it went to litigation, that this deed, he said, would amount to much. So he said, what he would do, and he said to tell you this, he said, I know Francis well and tell him I said a law.
okay. All right.
And he said that the best scenario he thought would be seeing where it's not big enough for a building lot, and it would really be a lot better for the church to have it than, as far as taxable property is what I'm talking about.
Okay.
And he went on to say that maybe, he said, I don't know, I'm just throw this out to him, that maybe the best thing would be is if the town would sell it back to the church, or whatever.
Quick time.
Quit claim.
It's obvious from what you're saying that it's dubious whether or not we own the property or not then, right?
That's what he said.
There was, just to give you an idea a little bit, the Wentworth Meeting House Association started around 1828, and by 1906, Wentworth Meeting House Association was created in order to accommodate all the different religions in town. And at that particular time, I want to say there was 6 or 8 or more. And one by one, all that was left was the Congregationalists and the Universalists. And the Universalists are listed on the back wall upstairs in the church. By 1906, it appears that the ones that would be considered the Congregational Church and the ones that would be considered the Wentworth Meeting House Association, still capable of taking on the idea of ownership, became one and the same. And that probably is why they thought they owned the thing, and they were one and the same, and they sold it to the town of Wentworth for a place for a library in 18... That represents a problem, because that wasn't sold until 1919, was it?
No.
The library was there in 1873.
They may have been there on that.
Yeah. Until the library went from there over to the Webster Memorial Library in 1915. What's your thoughts on the matter? We are not using it. We did put a new roof on there, I want to say, somewhere in the last 5 years, no, probably more than that, last 10 years, I'll say definitely. I went in there one day to look right out and see the sky up through the roof.
So what is the exact proposal?
Good question.
What are you asking for?
Well, what I'm asking for, well, what we're asking for, I guess, is that what is your wishes on what I just told you when I talked with Roy today, Roy Saborn? And he says that he doubts very much if the town would come out on top because of one thing, this one is a warranty deed, this one is a quick claim deed, and they didn't own the land when they sold it.
I understood that.
Yeah. So,
So I just had the same issue.
Here's a thought.
we would like that piece of land.
Okay, that's the crux of much of this. Good. I'm wondering about the lot over here,
That's town property, part of the common.
okay?
They went from there, went down over the bank and back to the church and everything at one particular time, but that only, south side of the road was sold off in the,
I dug the trench for
Early
the town
1800s.
for the well that church has.
Yeah,
Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
By hand?
I do remember.
Do you remember the yard and a half rock that was in the middle of the trench?
I don't know, I remember that.
Rock disappeared with no tractor signs. So you were aware of that line where that runs from in front.
I am.
Okay, that's very important. Obviously, we have to determine ownership, and that's a lot of legalese. I would defer to owner
I would
for some
hope
of
that the
that.
church would work to us to come up with an amicable solution because
Yeah.
I don't want to go to court. If we're not gonna use the particular piece of property, I'm thinking that the building on there, not the safe that's in the back of it, but the building that's on there is historic for the simple reason it has a history of what we just mentioned earlier. I'd get the Historical Society involved with this and see if they're interested in the building down there on the property where they're located. Don't know where they put it, but that'd be their problem. You're gonna have a builder in there who's capable of handling
All summer,
large buildings
Been there for
with
5
one hand.
months. Stan Brayton.
Just shooting for the moon. What if we asked you to move it and onto the Historical Society property if they wanted it? And that would be the charge.
That would be amenable to me.
Huh?
That would be okay with me.
That's just a thought. I mean, I don't know what some other people sitting around would think, but the town does not use it.
It is part of the history of the
It
town.
is part of the history.
The space between the building and the stone wall is insufficient.
Yeah, there
There's
ain't
not
much
enough
there.
space here.
That whole building is not, the whole lot is
Let's
probably
see
not.
when,
That's gonna be gone.
That's
This hill
gonna
will
be gone.
removed. When
Okay,
they get done, they're gonna slope this down onto this piece of property.
okay.
Yeah.
That whole building lot is not much bigger.
No, I know it's small.
It's rough.
It's really small.
I say building lot, that's a misnomer. What do you think would be a job to move that? I'm not talking about, the safe on back was added after it was got there. There is a
yeah,
walk-in
that
safe,
should come off.
there's a walk-in safe attached to that building. The walk-in safe is size of that table, maybe a little bit wider, back in the corner there.
Has anybody looked at the building yet? Is it movable?
It's
I
movable.
don't know.
It is movable.
It is movable?
Yeah.
My question would be whether the Historical Society wanted.
It's another thing I don't.
But if they didn't want it,
Say they didn't want it, then what's your wishes?
Fire department practice?
I would hate to see that building because of its story, and not, no.
It could
pun
be
on it.
placed maybe in, with some, just a stroll, but somewhere there in the common maybe. If they didn't want it, could it go, just a thought.
What if, yeah, what if a private individual wanted it?
Yes.
I'd love it.
Would you?
Well, I'll tell you,
It would have to be put out to bid.
Yeah,
I will tell you one person that gave interest to me of having it if they ever decided to get rid of it,
It's a neighbor.
the neighbor, Kozak.
That might be an easy solution. There
But-
is only one thing that concerns me, otherwise I'd say take it. And that's the separation of church and state. As amicable as that church and the residents in the town of Wentworth have always been, it could be considered a separation issue. And I wouldn't want to think.
Well, how do you come up with, I don't understand how you're coming up with that. And that dollhouse has nothing to do with the church.
I know, but by giving it to the church, I'm saying.
It's the land, it's the, well, it ain't the building. You guys own the building, we don't.
Okay. I guess the first thing I would say is contact the Historical Society and see if they're interested in ownership of that as a historic building. Any comments?
I would be more than glad to, or any of us here would be glad to ask them. I think my concern would be this. Stan Grayton's gonna be putting a foundation, a full foundation under that church, just starting in April. And there's a lot that's gotta be done there. They're gonna have, put new granite on the north side of the church that isn't there now, and they're gonna, there's a lot that's gotta be done, and he's gonna be there, he said, for 5 months. And when that takes place, we got, somewhere, we gotta have an answer to where we're gonna put our septic system. So we're in that situation, we gotta put new furnace in, and basically, and I'm not saying this anything for me, or for Glenn or Wayne, but I felt very strong about getting that church in shape, somewhat in shape, and we've been doing a lot to it in the last 5-6 years. We've got it on the New Hampshire registry,
50-something thousand into just a steeple.
we put a new steeple, and we put a
I
new
remember.
roof on it, and it's gonna be for
The town, it's
the
gonna
town,
be.
it's not for us.
It's an important part of the
It
history
is.
of the town,
It-
very important
it
part.
is.
It is pivotal physically,
Yes,
visually
definitely.
in the town. It's very important. I couldn't agree more.
Most
And
photographs
my
of
We
the town.
pretty much exhausted our own existence by trying to preserve this building.
and
We pretty
so,
much depleted our
as a,
investments and our savings, and
yeah, we
we're
put a lot
down
of
to
money.
20 people in the church. It's not just the church, it's part of the town.
Yes, it
It's
is.
part of the town.
I couldn't agree more.
And my thought would be, coming to you folks as a select board, that between the two of us, we could work this out that's as easy as we can for both parties. We're all in this together, we're not.
If you notice when Roy Ceylon denoted, put out the lines, this was the only line that he had an issue with, you know,
Yes.
what did we own back in here? But you see, he incorporated that into our law.
Mhm.
And today's, when talking to him, he explained why.
It makes sense.
And I'll just
I
take it one step further. I just examined one through this quick claim deed thing, and back in 1972, the town deeded me a piece of land, which was old Route 25 that went right in front of my house. They deeded it to me, a quick claim deed, but they didn't own it.
Who did?
The
The
town.
town.
The town didn't own it. So when we were getting ready to
Okay.
make our move.
This is years ago now, right?
This was 2 years ago. We went to, we
Right
went,
in front of your house?
yes, the old Route 25, the one in front of
Okay.
my house.
Was it across the street?
No. Right, right, his dad, your door.
Yeah, it went right through my front yard.
Yeah.
The town owned the westerly half of that road. Harold Brown owned the easterly half of that road. Right? So it just cost me about $6,000 to get title to that piece of property. And Jane had, the Brown family had to sign off and the whole thing. But the whole deal was about, they sold me, they didn't sell me, they gave me something that they didn't really
I
know.
didn't know.
And it was a quick claim deed, and the
Why
attorney
didn't
said to me, you know what, he said, I could make you a quick claim deed out to your house too, but that
If
doesn't
I'm
mean.
not
I won't.
mistaken,
So,
Margaret Bickford
I'm sorry.
is, if I'm not mistaken, Margaret Bickford is the president of the Wentworth Historical Society.
Yes.
Margaret Bickford, yeah.
Contact her, have her contact the ones in the Historical Society and see if they want the building.
If they don't.
If they don't,
Yeah, then what?
Cusick's wants the building.
At this point, I would like to have Omer do a quick deed search on that. So the town has a position based on his determination.
That's
And
probably a reasonable request, although I've seen that deed and, I never would have thought of what you brought in as the wrinkle, but that
Yeah,
was.
well, you know, we were prepared to
right.
come into it.
Wentworth Meeting
That
House,
was the one in 1920.
the Wentworth Meeting House Association was incorporated in 1828 or 1829 after a major fire in that area of town. And they built the Wentworth Meeting House, like I said, for all the different denominations. They, at one point in 1856, decided they didn't want the piece of property on the south end, and that to John Carrion. John Carrion built the house, it's there now owned by Cusick's. John Carrion either passed away and sold it, or somehow it got into the Wakefield, because the ownership, you've seen as the Wakefield, they owned it. And when Wakefield passed away, he sold it to the Wentworth Congregational
Right.
Association, who prior to that had the parsonage at Rockledge. And there is a thing in your records that says, to see if the Wentworth Congregational Church will sell Rockledge for $1,000 and to buy the Wakefield place for $1,500 or as much less as possible. I love that. And they did. They bought it, and it was the passage for the church up until 20 years ago. And when they sold it in 1856, I'd have to look back at that deed now, is that here? I think probably it was the Wentworth Meeting House Association members that sold it at that particular time, because they still were pretty well defined up until that time. 1856 is about the time that increased some of
Well,
the.
there is something there from the Wakefield to the church.
1856 was about the time they increased some of Davis, the original minister of the church, left town. And this is the Wakefield one right here.
Okay.
On that, this, that Wayne's got here, Sabin went back to all the way back to the 1800s.
Right.
I mean, he didn't leave a stone on the
I wouldn't question that. We have to, at this point, I have to represent the town.
I hear that,
My personal interests
I hear
are
that.
actually consistent with the town's and yours, if that's possible.
Yeah, no,
I guess
understand
at that stage of the game, if the Historical Society didn't want it, Next option was to see if Kozak's
Kozak.
Kozak's wants it bad enough to pay the church the cost of moving their property.
Okay, I would like to involve Omer in this.
No decisions
He
made tonight.
is a
okay?
lawyer,
Understand.
this is his,
Understand.
have him do as quickly as he can title work, so that the town has a position to talk from. And as you know, I support the church, always have, but at this point, in this chair, it's different.
Well, do you want us to go ahead and get a lawyer for the same reason? So we can
I don't think you need one until we establish, and I understand time is of the essence.
I don't see why we should put ourselves through that necessary expense, but it's to the mutual benefit of both of us. We aren't using it and you need it. And you have a surveyor who I respect very highly telling us that that deed is worthless, or all but worthless. We'll make the same determination.
Yeah.
And I hate to see the building destroyed, my
Well-
own personal feelings.
One last question. Say Kozak doesn't want it. Say the Historical Society doesn't want it because they haven't got the property to put it on. Then what do you do with it?
Put it out to bid.
That'd take too long. You wanna get something done by April, May.
Well, sooner the better.
Well, you know, as far as the septic system to be put in, that would be the last thing after. But we would be encroaching on that, you know.
Right.
He's gotta put the timbers on, he's gotta excavate, he's got to do some other things.
Yeah.
And we might even ask you if we can use some portion of that three-corner piece there just to put some materials on and
I would have no problem
I wouldn't have any
using
problem
it
with
as
that at all.
storage.
you know, I guess that our meeting tonight particularly was to present what our issue is,
Yeah.
and just so
So
we can work
So
together.
we're informed.
Exactly,
Yeah.
yeah.
There's a lot of, when we had
Because
the
road
market,
agent
a
here
lot of
too, you
people
know,
had no
we don't be
idea
crossing
about,
your
where is
road.
the church, you know? But we were told that in a couple of years, if that church wasn't doing what we were doing to it, it would not be there. It would, that whole right side would just let go.
That's the south side.
Yes, on the east and south side.
They said it would just.
He said if it wasn't for the timber frame and construction on that church, it would have been gone, it would have been in a lot worse shape for this. Had an assessment done on it by a guy out of Maine.
Will you come back on
Wonderful assessment on
Will you come back on a weekly basis and see what progress we've made on this here? Because, let's face it, we only have about 6 weeks till April, and if
it.
2 months at most, before you're gonna want to get cruising.
Yeah,
Sure. Certainly would.
So the,
We'll
no,
move on this as we
no
can.
decisions made, discussion is open.
That's good.
Got some ideas, and I would first ask Margaret to contact the Historical Society members and get their feel for the warrant. They don't have much money, other than the money they're gonna be using along with what they're asking the town to donate to put a new roof on their building, so I don't know what they can offer to you to get that building down there, or how you'd even get it down there. Obviously, you can't go through the covered bridge.
Well, you've got a man that's gonna be there
Who moves?
who moves a lot of buildings bigger than that one. Yeah.
even if he moved it off the property and we found a place that it could be put, if nobody wants it, then you can put it up for bid.
You could use
That
it
would
for a
work.
jail, maybe, you guys.
There was a jail in town at one time, you know, I don't know where it was.
For
So,
these- for
so
the
our
outbreaks
set,
we
we'll
got.
we'll just touch bases with you back in a week.
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
yeah,
okay.
I will give Margaret enough time to get word back for what they wanted and some kind of a plan of their attack to get it down to where their place is. You think, Grattan would, move it?
Graydon?
Yeah.
Could.
Oh, I think he'd be very interested in it, well, he was right in the vicinity.
I just don't know that we've got the finances to
Well,
pay for that.
that's another thing.
I mean,
I don't know how much it would cost to move that, because you probably have no idea.
Depends on where it goes.
yeah, if you,
I'd say it's gonna cost somebody $5,000 just to get it on a trailer.
I bet you're right.
That's just the start.
Yeah, I'm sure
And
you
if you have to deal with moving wires and all that stuff, you know.
Yeah, I don't know how high it actually is. Well, it's higher than the wires.
Yeah.
One big problem is gonna be detaching that, safe that's on the back, I bet that's pretty heavy. And we need to get the books out of it, because there's a lot of stuff in that building.
So we gotta work on it.
Yeah.
But at least
We're
I
communicating.
appreciate that you listen.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it.
We're receptive to doing what we need to for the church.
Appreciate it.
My opinion says we owe it to the church as a relatively significant, not relatively, very significant building in town,
And the town.
and the town as well, to keep that building as beneficial to all we can. So,
And I thank the three of you for working on this to preserve it for the
Are you
church and
involved?
for the town.
or are you just interested?
And the television's broken.
No, I got satellite, it's working fine.
So,
Okay?
that's as far we can
Thank
go
you.
for tonight, I think.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Well, hope you feel well.
Take care.
I feel
Thank
great.
all of you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
How you doing?
Good night, everybody.
Is this an apparition over here, or?
How you doing? Good to see you.
You weren't gonna be here, were you?
Well, no, I had a class, but the class got canceled, and they said we might get some crazy rain or sleet tonight, so I didn't wanna take all the snow off the roads. So I decided I'd come up and ask you guys a few questions.
We're gonna make a motion. Can we
It's
just
just
bring,
when I pulled in.
See, that's what I didn't,
Yeah, I just plowed my driveway.
I plowed my way out, I
Do
won't
these
plow my
tend to cut?
way back in.
yeah,
yeah.
It's one side of the road coming out.
All 3 minutes?
Huh?
All 3 minutes were approved?
well, yes. I'm gonna make a motion that we accept the December, what's the first one on there, December 9th?
November 19th.
November 19th. November 19th.
It's all signed.
December 3rd and December 9th.
December 3rd and December 9th.
And I second that motion.
I vote yes.
Oh, yes.
Those can be put on the,
Sounds like a
Internet.
up here.
there are 4 others. I have read them. I have, in my mind, approved them. I have already signed them. One signature doesn't make for an acceptance. I wanna wait until Omer has input on those, because he was at those meetings.
And I wasn't?
You know, you were too, so we need to be, all 3 of us have to be, or not all 3 of us, but we should, all 3 of us, have our signature on it.
Well, they don't have to, you don't have to, the select board doesn't have to approve minute meetings before they're posted.
We don't have to, but we always have,
Well,
and if they're not,
It's a good
they're
idea.
not approved.
no, I mean, you can always amend them, I'm just saying, you don't have to, the select board, they can be posted without anybody even okaying them.
I don't agree with that.
Well, that's the state law, I can tell you that, that's a statute. It is.
Well, if your select board makes a decision to review them before they're posted, then.
Oh, yeah, I mean, yeah, as long as they're posted within 5 days,
Right.
but you guys only meet once a week, so it's hard
If they
to
weren't signed
sign
by
in
the-
5
If
days.
they weren't signed by the selectmen, anybody could post minutes and say they were the minutes of a meeting.
Well, no, because then you have draft put on them, and there's a, That's
We've
all.
always signed them, to the best of my knowledge. On this one here, Linda, the next one down is, notice of intent to cut.
Yes.
Did you check to see if, I think you did. to check the taxes are all paid.
Yes, that's the, that it says Tuesday.
I make a motion that this intent to cut, for Lee Dinner and who's the second pass?
Kathy.
Be accepted as presented to us.
And he goes through the logging.
Yep.
It's okay, I think you want to sign it, give it to you,
We
three.
need three.
Are you seconding it?
I second that, thank you.
I vote yes.
I vote yes. Stupid.
2, 18, 20, 20.
Speaking of minute meetings, have you guys had any luck finding the non-public meeting, June 4th? The minutes to that?
I have found a paper, probably similar to one that you got, with a note on it that says some things, yes, but not official. Do I make sense? Tell me.
I don't know.
No, am I telling you anything you understand?
No,
There's a piece of paper, probably 2 or 3 pieces of paper long,
okay.
and it says, signed by all 3 selectmen. And it gives the date of, I wanna say June 4th.
Where did you find the papers?
In my possession, Omer gave them to me.
Well, just so you guys know, those were supposed to be out of my file and nobody had those in 90 days. You guys are not supposed to have those. Those are supposed to be
I
out
have had
of my
them,
file in
I have
90
had them
days.
since probably the date that the,
You are not supposed to have them in your position. They're supposed to be in my file and they're supposed to be gone in 90 days.
well, I'm telling you, I've seen them.
So that's what they are about,
And the only
yes.
set I know of is at my house, and it's not going anywhere else.
Well, they should be thrown away. They shouldn't be at your house. They're non-public meetings. They're not made to be out of the
I'm
office.
not on that issue right now. I told you the facts as I found them.
You didn't find the meeting minutes.
No.
You found the papers that went with them. That's why I want the meeting minutes.
The non-public minutes,
Yes.
they are not available to the public.
They're about me. I can have a set of them. They can be unsealed if I ask. And I've asked for 3 or 4
Randy
months now.
Bruder has, we talked about this on a previous occasion, it's the annual facility report that we need to get in order to legally be dumping. And we said we would pass it by Randy, he looked at it, and the note says that he has agreed to what's there. I'll entertain a motion to accept that facility report, and we gotta get it off to,
The state.
the state now.
Let me look at it for a minute here. Why are there people's names on here that have expired licenses?
Such as. That's what they've got down in Concord, so, I don't know if we can take it off. Do they have an expiration date?
Yeah, it's right there.
Well, then that's just a record of it.
It does say in one case, no longer working at the facility.
That is a 2018 report, I think.
Yes,
So, it might. be
yes,
old
it's just
information.
part of the history of what's happened there, and I can understand why that's part of it. Required.
This facility has not been reported in Concord for what, 2 or 3 years?
I'm not sure.
No, it says it's in compliance with the certificate. And you get to sign it.
Huh?
You get to sign it.
Oh dear. Only one place?
That's all I saw.
You wanna make the motion?
I move the chairman of the select board, Francis Muzzy, sign the application
I'll second that motion. I vote yes.
for the dump permit.
There is only one place for signature. That goes over there too. All right. These are requests for, well, let me go through them one at a time. I'm not gonna give names. This is a veterans credit application. Veterans credit application. Current use application. Disabled exemption. All veterans credit. On the 3 veterans credit, I'm going to suggest that we not act tonight on the basis of the fact that these are warrant articles on the last meeting. If we approve it now, we'll be approving it at what is the current veterans exemption. And then if we change it at the March meeting, they'll have to apply all over again.
Understand.
So,
Francis, I don't understand that. So you're saying the fact that that warrant article that went in to change the veteran tax credit, you're saying that everybody that currently has a tax credit has to reapply?
to the best of my knowledge,
That doesn't make any sense to me.
why?
Isn't that a change to the current tax credit, not an actual new one? Because if it's a change to the current tax credit, then nobody should have to reapply. They've already been given the tax credit.
To the best of my knowledge, they're supposed to reply or be, I'll use the word audited on a frequent basis to make sure that everything is continually justified. It doesn't sound to me like anything should change over time on those matters like that. But when you approve an exemption, you're approving the exemption under the existing circumstances, and right now, and by the end of March, they may be different.
I don't think the actual the requirements to actually get the tax credit is actually changing. The actual benefits changing. Is it? Sorry.
Linda.
go ahead.
Yeah, the veterans tax credit is a permanent credit.
Yes.
It does not need to be reviewed.
But when you change it, you have to make another application.
I don't think so, and I will double check that. It honestly doesn't make sense that you would have to change it. You're just given a credit regardless of what it is. Whatever your town adopts, you get that credit.
My intent is this will all
I
be
will check.
agreed upon by April 1, regardless of how we do it. And rather than make them reapply or whatever they're supposed to do, wait until we know what the numbers are and then do it.
I thought at the budget meeting that somebody mentioned that you didn't necessarily have to reapply every year, but that the town had the right to request for updates or something, kind
Yes,
of like
I
current
did,
use.
I did.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's what I thought, yeah.
but when you apply, you're applying for a certain agreed upon current exemption.
So if the language didn't change, but just the credit did, then it would be essentially the
Right.
same. But if the language or the qualifications changed, then I guess you would be right.
I would-
I don't
I'm
know.
gonna say to the best of my knowledge, the language for the qualifications do not change.
Yeah.
It's just the amount.
Just the amount.
Excuse myself.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Sandbox.
So those 3, I would rather wait until the next board is approving it for the new amount.
I mean, that shouldn't, sorry to interrupt, that shouldn't matter anyways, because the taxes aren't gonna be coming out until after that anyways, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
As long as it gets on the next
Yeah.
tax bill.
Alright, yeah.
Yeah. If
Okay.
we do it by April 15th, you're golden, or they're golden.
I worry for myself as well. So,
You work what?
well, actually, I need to talk to you anyways. We already had this conversation, but.
Francis,
So to serve them the possibility of having to apply all over again, I would wait until after the mass meeting. Not denying them, just wait until after the mass meeting.
I had a question about the current use application. Is that the John Downing one that was from
I haven't-
2018? Is that the one that
Let me,
was
look at that
found? There was one that was found that was
I
old.
thought I had 5 things here.
You'll probably want to ask me about
That's a
that.
veteran's credit. That's a veteran's credit.
It was one of those
That's a
packets.
veteran's credit.
The
Disabled,
current use, it was
current
denied.
use, current use.
Is that from John Downing?
I'm reluctant to give names, but that name has not hit me in the face here yet.
Okay, I just, one of the current use applications that I had turned in for him a while ago was recently found within here, and it needs to be processed, but I don't know if he needs to come in or anything, but probably the board should give him an abatement on the taxes, the tax bill since that was submitted, because it
We'll
was
tell you,
supposed to.
this is on Red Oak Hill.
Okay, then that's not the right one, but there is one out there that will need to be addressed in some way.
I think this is
If
within the
I
right to
found
know
it,
anyway,
I gave it to
but-
Avatar, so it should be all taken care of. I can double check it, but
Yep, but
I
I
just
just,
don't remember the name.
I just mean the previous tax bills though, since, if it was
He would have
2018.
requested, he would have requested a refund or an abatement, right?
I assume that he did, but I don't know that.
I will double check. on
If
that.
not, I'm just saying it would be fair to do that.
It's totally up to you,
If he hasn't, I'll remind him and have him come in and do the proper channel, if he wants it. It's probably not a ton of money.
yeah, I'll look it up.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so this right here is a letter to, no, this is a letter back from Avatar, right?
Yes. What are you talking about? It has a note on it. And I wrote a letter to them saying that their application was denied.
Application was denied.
Avatar is recommending to deny it because they did not.
My first observation is they did not show where the
Yes.
land that's out of current use is on that map.
Right, so,
Okay,
Avatar recommended that we not process his application, send it back to him.
so
So
that,
that's what I did, I wrote a letter saying,
Okay.
send it back to you,
okay.
fill the forms out properly and we'll
I agree
resubmit it.
So,
There's 3 of them that are like that.
okay, that's one.
So it just needs to sign to say that you reviewed it. You don't even have to sign it if you don't want.
Yep. And this one's the same thing. No, this was a disabled and elderly disabled exemption.
Yes, he wanted all kinds of exemptions and he didn't provide any backup.
Okay.
So I also
All right.
wrote a letter to that.
There are certain things they have to provide for all these, yes.
Just on the current use map, typically you all, when, like you said, you have to show the land that's out of current use, and I think DRA even requires you're supposed to have distances. You're supposed, as you show it, that way somebody can come and measure out what's not in current use in case you build buildings.
The
That's-
last time,
Yeah,
That's the
we know
point,
that,
yeah.
He-
the last time I
he-
knew, the current use regulations did not require a survey. It can be a crude map.
Right, we still have to provide distances to recreate it, but it's not a survey, you're correct.
Right,
You can do it
he
right on a tax map.
He didn't provide anything, he just.
They have a copy of the map there, but they have no indication of where the,
That way DRA could show up and they could mark it out and make sure you're not going outside of your limits.
all right, some time ago, we got a thing from Wentworth Warrant Ambulance Service. This is obviously a different copy. They did not sign it when they sent it to us.
He came in today and he dated it,
And
and
this
put his
is
initials on it.
the revised copy, 40,850, which is the same number that's in the warrant article. And there's 2 copies, I presume one is for us and one is for them.
Yes.
And I'll entertain a motion.
I move we accept the proposal from the ambulance service as presented.
I'll second that. I vote yes.
I vote yes.
I think I explained at the hearing that these rates that are charged to the different towns now are based on population. $43 per, yeah, $43 per individual, and the population of Wentworth is 950. Previously, to the best of my knowledge, there was no basis whatsoever for the fee that was being requested, just what they felt like asking for. So that is we know about septic design now.
That is just an amended one, you
Yeah.
signed it and you just,
I know nothing about septic
Changes.
design, other than the fact that the state rubber stamps, or we rubber stamp what the state will allow.
This is the big storage building down at the town line on Route 25 by Wade Reed,
Okay.
logger of significance.
No, he just built the shop that he then turned into parking lot and built.
But the material below the building
It's gravel.
is all gravel.
He didn't buy that
It's all
whole,
gravel.
Yeah, it's right next to the river.
he didn't buy that whole field out back there?
The pine up on top, I think Como there that owned Rizax, he kept that. That's why they poked a little road up the hill you can see. So I think he just bought the flat.
My next question is, if they sold that as two pieces, was a subdivision done?
Well,
It may have been two different tax map lots for all I know.
yeah,
They may or may not have.
The Roundy line is quite a ways away from there, so it should all be in Wentworth.
Didn't Don Ruster, the vet, own that at one point?
I think that was always Como from Rizax. He's always, because he always had that all that old equipment parked out there. Remember, because of the he was supposed to move it.
Right,
and
yeah,
when he
Bob
moved
Como.
in, he dragged it all off to the
Everything
side.
changed, you know?
Bob Como.
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought Don Ruster bought that, 'cause
septic
he was
system.
talking about putting a
Yeah,
I don't know where they wanna
veterinary
put it.
clinic up here. And I thought he bought that, but
That's the well.
Nope, I think that was straight from Como. But Como did, as far as I know, kept
That's
the
the building.
hill behind it.
Huge, big
What's
building.
this?
That's where it is. Yeah, I would have no problem with this. I'm sure the state will accept it.
I don't think they have any, where's the road line? Right there, right?
This is 25.
That red line is the extent of the,
Property line or setback.
it's already gone to the state and they recommended these changes. The state will submit it again and then we'll,
Yeah, they still have to submit it to the state, and the state will
yeah,
either
we're
stamp
not
it or
signing
not.
off on
I'm
it.
okay with it.
Yeah, too.
And so you have to sign that paper right there. And
That's just a septic plan. That's what that is.
Oh,
That septic plan?
I make a motion that Pamela be signing that septic modification because there's only one signature required. You
They
gonna
actually
second that?
came up to the top of the mountain with me and looked at my system.
Yeah.
It's like, whatever, buddy. I'm in the middle of nowhere. Just stamp it.
They do, they come check them
Oh,
all.
he did. They did the perk test, they did the final inspection, the whole 9 yards.
I had one rejected.
I'm gonna address Paul's issues here first because that's easier, I think. I got a note here from you. our request for qualifications are due by February 28th. We did a request for qualifications, right?
Yeah?
Is that the note I wrote you?
What?
Did I write that? No, to set up a committee. It's just to set up a committee to review the requests of qualifications. And I'm asking.
Oh,
And we
okay.
talked about getting Santam in.
Yeah,
I like that idea, getting Chris Grant, Sandman.
I think there ought to be, people from the town involved in who they ask. How many, qualifications have you got? Like requests?
Requests?
Yeah, I mean,
Probably 24.
Let me ask you this question here, are Du Bois and King on that list?
yes.
Is Holden on that list?
I
I
don't
didn't
know,
see
I don't think
Holden.
I've seen Holden do it, no.
No.
But
Those are two that I asked because they have done work for us before, and I want to say their work has been commendable.
Well, they haven't submitted anything yet.
I know,
They
but-
haven't submitted anything. They've only requested the letter.
Yeah.
Um,
And we signed that letter as far as approving it for
Yeah, it's already done.
dissemination.
yeah.
So you're probably gonna get, I'm gonna guess, you're gonna get 15 to 20 qualified candidates. And then I think, you need to, well,
It was just to say that we need to set up a committee of people who are gonna review these and decide on who we want to interview. And also to contact Santam to see if he would sit in.
be in on the interviewing
I
process.
put Chris's name down, who else?
It's right on the letter there.
What?
Paul, I wrote it.
Okay.
Well,
I
well,
put Chris, Paul, Jeff Ames, and I put at least, a select board member.
who's Chris?
Chris.
Did you say Chris?
Is it Chris?
Yeah, that's Mike.
Oh, Mike
Oh, Mike
Sanford,
Sanford.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Mike, probably
Okay, so,
Chief Ames,
Yeah, it's what we talked about.
the select board, myself,
Yeah,
just enough of a variation. I mean, anybody you want could be on it. I
it was
mean,
just-
anybody that, I was just thinking Mike Santon, he's an
when are you
I'm
gonna
not
make,
an
when are you gonna
engineer.
make the choices? When do you think to be making the choices?
We all should sit down and review them.
By when?
I put
Well,
down
that's the
that,
next problem, I don't know, I mean,
Need to get
it
the.
closes the 28th, which is a Friday, and then the following week, we probably should,
yeah, did you see?
look for the
I put a
qualifications.
tentative,
Do you want to be a part of that
Tentative
committee,
meeting
as far as choosing the,
it's all written.
different engineers?
Absolutely. I wanna be part of that.
I mean, you guys agree that 3 to 5, interviewing 3 to 5 companies is plenty?
5,
Five.
probably better.
Okay, I mean, 'cause-
I think you should discuss every one, if you have any knowledge of any of
oh
them,
yeah, I think we should go right through
and then pick.
all
35.
20 or 25, however many you get, but pick 3 to 5, because interview and.
You want anything from us on this?
I just wanted to let you know that
Oh my god, no.
we're requesting to set up a committee of these people, and I put down who the members are, and I put a potential meeting times. We probably wanna meet the first week in March.
What?
Probably want to meet the first week in March.
We gotta meet before then, right?
No.
We gotta meet by the 28th.
No, they have to get them into us by the 28th, the postmark by the 28th. So we probably won't get them until like March 2nd, which is a Monday. And I propose that we meet sometime during that week.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna have to set aside, to go through 20 plus, you're gonna get some 40 and 50 page qualifications here. So you're gonna have to set aside a good 3 or 4 hours to
I think
go
you gotta
through
go
these.
over and kneel at Mike's door. Cause he was an engineer.
Yeah, no, I think Mike would be a good one, I mean, to interview an engineering company, you kinda gotta know what you're talking about.
So we've,
I
got
can
these
interview a
names here, I'm
construction
gonna pass
company,
it
but-
back to, we got, Paul, Jeff,
Just get bids.
Mike?
We've been through this
Mike
before.
and,
So, that's the next problem, Jordan, and you
um,
can't get
you.
bills. That's, we're going through the state bridge.
I just said at least one selectman, because the
and
representative
so he
should.
said he wanted to be,
Okay.
and if he
So-
didn't want to be, I was gonna want to be, so.
You can,
What?
it could
To
be all
have, to
three
have
of
one
you.
selectman there, I was gonna volunteer.
All three can be
All
there.
three can be.
Yeah, it should be,
I just
that's
put
fine.
at least,
If you want to.
selectmen.
I mean, it's,
Put my name down.
I would
and
say all
also
three should be there.
If I'm here, I'm happy to do
Put
it.
Pamela's name down.
You should be here in a couple weeks, shouldn't you? Or are you going somewhere?
Depends on the election.
Oh, that's, we're talking about going through this before then,
Okay,
maybe.
I'm happy to
But,
do it.
so I wanted to talk to,
Uh,
I wanted to talk to the board about when the interviews for these,
request for
request
financial-
for qualifications, when we interview them, there's one no-no that you cannot do in an interview.
Ask for money.
You cannot ask them a price. Absolutely not, and if you do, the New Hampshire Bridge Aid will pull their money from you.
I know, too much
So
government.
we have to be careful not to ask them, not even in a roundabout way, what it might cost, or what are you thinking price-wise? We will decide, one person, and how it works is they come back, after you negotiate with them, they come back and say, we're gonna charge you X amount of money. You take that number and it goes to the state bridge aid, they look it over and say, yep, this is a reasonable price, we accept it. There are times when they'll look at it and say, this is completely unreasonable, this is not even close, go renegotiate or find somebody else. So just to let you know, do not ask money questions to them. We can't.
Important.
Huh?
Sounds pretty important.
Yeah. It is, but that's why the bridge aid is involved in it, because they're gonna look at it, so if a company came back and said, it's gonna cost $155,000 for, us to engineer the bridge. State bridge aid, Charles Malecki and, Ron Kleiner will look at it and say, yep, that's a very reasonable number. Say a company came in and said it's gonna be $195,000, they'll say this is absolutely unreasonable and we're not gonna pay, we'll only pay 80% of that.
Before I hire somebody, I wanna know how much they're gonna charge me, but that's not the way it works.
So you can't do it.
What they're trying to do is avoid lowballing.
Exactly.
Comes in, puts in a low bid partway through the project. Gee, we found there's more work here.
Right, so what happens is after it goes to the bid and construction, since we're going through the bridge aid with at least Frescon Road, we, as a town, have to take the lowest bidder construction-wise. We do not have a choice,
Since when did that change?
but you have to
No, it's
read,
been that way.
you have to read the bridge aid funding
It
program.
was that way in the other bridges.
As far as the construction
Homer
goes.
has something to,
Yeah,
Lowest bid or lowest responsible bid?
Lowest bid, it states right in the New Hampshire Bridge Aid program.
I wanna see that, because if it's the lowest bid, but it's from a company that has no experience.
it's the lowest qualified bid.
you
Well, let's
would
see.
have ruled that out by the request for
I
qualification.
think I sent Linda the link to the New Hampshire Bridge Aid.
I don't think they'll let
Info.
unqualified people
Yeah.
bid on it.
Okay.
We're still
Okay, that's
months
what I'm
away from
saying.
that.
Yeah. I
As
think
long
that's-
as responsible
they
is
don't-
in there.
Don't let
What
them bid.
Homer is referring to there would have been left out by the request for qualifications.
Huh?
That sounds like that might do it, yeah.
Paul,
Yep.
back to you again on the second issue. I don't know if this ought to be non-public or not. You want to discuss salary, not salary, but pay in public?
Sure, that doesn't, no, I'm open, I don't care.
I make it easier for us, but because it's nothing.
I have no problem with it.
You know what the question is?
Nope.
You don't. You requested it, so. Paul's request to be paid for on sick time.
Oh, okay, so at the end of the year, this is what happened. I think I talked to Linda for sure. And I think I talked to either you or Omer, both of you at one point. We were in the office one afternoon and So my last paycheck of 2019, I had 19 hours of sick time.
Well, I came up with 24, so.
Okay, maybe it was
Even
24.
better.
it was
Okay,
quite-
so whatever, so we're just gonna say, so I had some hours of sick time, and I asked that it said in the policy handbook, that if you had sick time left over, you get paid 1.5 times your hourly rate for the time that you had, and I asked, nothing really came of it, and then I asked again last week, and because my checks now say I have 32 hours of sick time, because it rolls over the beginning of the year. So that's what it's about.
If you have 32 hours, okay, how much did you?
So either I should have 32 hours and get paid, or I should have 56 hours total sick time.
Okay, let me organize myself. So, at the end of 19, as of December 31, 2019, how many sick hours did you have left over?
I thought it was 19, Linda said 24.
24.
At the present time, how many did you add on for 2020?
32.
No, you don't add them all at once.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, you do. We don't accrue sick.
Yeah.
They should.
Well, that all depends what was negotiated, you know, from the beginning.
So,
We're in the process of rewriting the handbook. I think it should be something like 2.5 a month. If you multiply 2.5 times 12, you can get to 32. You get 30, but you get the idea.
I'm just going by what the policy handbook says. I mean, I don't even know, I mean, I guess by all rates, next time we get a contract, I mean, it states right in the law that town officials aren't even subject to the town policy handbook. And I am a town official. I don't even know what to think, like, my contract is so vague, I don't even know where to go with it. So, hopefully April 1st, if you guys will offer me another contract, I think we need to sit down and negotiate, some language in it that
So-
will
So
protect
the
myself and
$600
the town.
pays him for all of the back.
Actually,
Huh?
I didn't realize that it was time and a half.
That's what it
Says
says in the
time
plan.
and a
It
half.
says at 1.5 times the rate.
So then it would be $900.
I don't remember the policy, I'll tell you that right now. And so, I'm agreeable to what the policy says until it's changed. I do think that sick time should not be, here you had 32 hours, 32 days of sick time right at the beginning of the year. I think I had 10 sick days in the course of a year, and that was 1 a month. And it was 2 months of the year you don't work as a teacher, so that's your 10 sick days. 1 a month. They accrued, but you didn't get them all at once.
That's only 4 days a year.
What?
32 hours is only four days a year.
Yeah, we only offer 4 to 6
4 days a year.
Oh, I was looking at this. Okay, sorry.
You're right.
He's 332
Just got
days.
32 days.
Okay,
Next
well,
month.
I'm okay with that.
No,
Everyone
no,
has
I mean, you only get 32 hours a year.
Oh, that's nothing.
No, sick time.
Why you plan to see how.
What do you wanna do?
Did you change it, Francis, to 900?
No, I did not, but,
I vote we sign it.
huh?
I vote we sign it. I make a motion to sign it.
Do I have a second? I'm telling you, as I sit here, I have not read the actual detailed wording in the handbook.
Would you like me to get it? It's
I
only-
probably ought to do due diligence, yes,
it's only a
please.
short
I
paragraph.
think I got it right here. Linda.
Well, I wanna get our official
Okay.
copy.
Yeah, I don't have it here. Oh yeah, it goes right here. Let's see.
I don't miss those days.
What's that?
I don't miss those days. I'm retired from the town of Chelmsford.
Chelmsford, Mass.
Yes.
Doing what kind of work, if I may ask?
I was a town plumber.
Charlie Lawton was a really good friend of mine. I'm sure you knew him. Charles Lawton.
Charlie, yep.
He was a really good guy, good friend.
What page was that
So
on?
sorry he died so soon.
Yeah. It's catching up to all of us.
I know that, but he's much too young. Does Mahoney's still own that facility?
No, they sold it to, the Rocky Ledge out of Wilmington.
I know Rocky does.
Rocky Ledge bought that and a bunch of others.
I'm gonna find fault with the policy, but not to the extent of intent to change anything. It says 1.5%. It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that. I think it means 150%.
I do too. It says 1.5%,
Oh,
and I think it means 1.5 times.
the hourly rate.
And hey, it's in the policy handbook, I don't care.
Yeah.
Pay me 1.5%, that's what it says.
I am
It's
satisfied
decided.
enough to know that the intent would not be 1.5%. You might as well not even multiply by anything.
Right?
So that needs to be changed in the handbook.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I'll do the same for the town as I did for my workman's comp. If you pay me my regular hourly rate, I'd be happy. You don't have to pay me 1.5 times. You really don't. I mean, I should've used my sick time and I didn't.
I would jump on that while he's off.
Yeah, that's.
And I did the same with my comp time. I'm trying to help the town out because
Sign it.
there's a lot of little things in there that, I mean, I could've got a $5,000 check from the town for my comp time.
I'll
And I
admit
settled a
to
40-hour
being on
work week.
Paul's back enough times for things. He doesn't deserve to be on his back when it comes to the carrying out the execution of a town policy having to do with pay.
What are we looking at here?
Right here, it says that we paid at 1.5% of the rate of the.
What it says is 1.5%.
Yeah, I don't think it means that.
That was-
But that's what it says. I'm not sure of the math, what that works out to. Does it work out to the $600 it's listed
Well,
out here?
the $600 is straight pay.
Straight,
If you multiply that by 1.015.
We're gonna come up with about another $30.
Buy some beer.
it's clearly a typo, huh?
I would stick with the intent.
Policy.
That'd be $609.
It'd be what?
It'd be an extra $90, he said, for the 1.5%.
Whoever drew this up, it looks like, Linda, you drew this up, it says $600 here.
I neglected to see that it was at time and a half, or at 1.5%.
So, and that works out to $609.
That's what according to the, no, at time and a half, it's $900.
It would be $900. I put $600 because I thought it was just straight time. I missed it in the policy.
I am convinced, as I sit here, that that's a misprint in there.
Well, but that's what it says.
I don't know what it says, but I don't have any doubt. I don't intend to cheat you as far as my,
All right, in the interest of expedience, if he's willing to accept the $600.
I'm willing to accept the
Sign it and move
$600.
on.
Yeah, I second the motion that we pay him $600.
Can I ask you to amend that for the 609, so we are going by that at least? It's only $9, but for damn it,
Palmer, if you change your motion to $609, I'll second it at $609.
I
and
will do that, I'll change it, move it to $609.
thank you, Paul.
No?
And I'm gonna write in here $609.
And we do need to correct these things, make sure these things are right, because when they deal with somebody's pay,
Can't do it, you can't screw it up.
Call the question, so we've got a first by Palmer, second by
I
Omer,
vote yes.
to do $609.
I vote yes.
You got this, Linda?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
We have been working on the policy changes there. Does that include the changes?
No,
So we haven't got
didn't
that
get
far
there
yet.
You need to initial the amount there. And I'm talking about numerals and things, numbers and things. Whenever we do a number, there needs to be that same number written in words.
Yep.
And that way you don't have any confusion.
That's
So-
why they do that.
And
Yep.
it's been my policy for 40 years in doing a contract, so.
Makes sense.
It's just too easy to put, you know,
1.5%.
All right, we have done everything under number one to the best of, oh, no, we haven't either. Tell me if you believe that should be non-public session. It has to do with a person in town, and I don't know enough about the person to make a good judgment. I think we need to go into non-public session.
I think we should go into non-public session because of, it could, reflect poorly or on someone.
Yeah.
You got that on your list of things, Linda, for non-public sessions? There's a listing of what the
Yes,
different things are.
Yeah.
We're looking at the one that says request for financial assistance. And I want to talk to you, Jared, if I may. John, I'm gonna do it, so you hit me, I'll give you a right to hit me.
Okay. We're in the hallway?
Yeah,
or-
please.
He's taking you outside, Jordan.
Okay, so
Make it count.
there hasn't been a, did I just make a motion to go into non-public session, but it hasn't been seconded yet?
Second it.
Well, I don't know if we want to because Francis isn't here right now.
Maybe he's doing his non-public in the hall.
That was too fast.
That's right, it's on exchange of money.
Well, you only need one swing.
I thought that maybe Jordan would have some knowledge about the individual to, that I don't, and he doesn't have the knowledge either, so,
Especially where she's referencing the HIPAA laws, I think this should be in non-public.
Yeah, I would rather err on that side than.
yeah.
She's
We're gonna have a
referencing-
non-public session on the RSA 91A3, having to do with the reputation of an individual that might be detrimental if discussed in public.
Yes, 91A3:13.
Can we do that right now?
Yeah, I guess, do we have any other business we need to talk about before?
Well, there's multiple items on
Um,
the agenda.
I have a couple things I need to ask you guys, talk to you about.
Can we save the non-public until after?
Why don't we say that till the
Yeah,
after,
we
yes?
haven't gotta worry about dragging them out and dragging them in. Reports of town officials, anything to say?
Snoring.
No.
As I was driving in, it was close to whiteout conditions out there, Mr. Chairman. So, you came in after I did. Do you agree with my assessment?
Do.
Did it turn to rain or no?
No, it's snowing. It's snowing hard. And again, it's close to whiteout.
14 inches on the ground.
Well, I'll get it in the morning.
Which
I go to the shop and take a nap.
Which morning?
I'm gonna go have a beer.
Moving right along, meeting open for public comments. No public comments? Yes,
I
go
have a
ahead.
question, the disability, discount, taxes.
Yes,
I'm retired from the town of Chelmsford on a full disability plan.
yes.
Where do I get the papers to file for that?
Yes.
It's right out in the hallway here.
Thank you.
And I mean, we just passed by some of the, when you heard us talk, passed by some of
Yes,
the.
I heard
for
you
the
talk
simple
about
reason
that, that's
of-
what made me ask, because what I'm paying on taxes on that house up on that hill is outrageous.
There's three, there's three veteran exemptions. One's the standard, which doesn't require any vote on the part of the town, and it's $50.
Yep.
There's another one that the town right now at the present time has a $200 one on, and the warrant article intends to raise it to $500. That's straight off your tax bill.
I came in before and talked about it, because when the guy came up and did the tax assessment, the assessor come around and went through my house. The house is not done, it's still not done. I had a heart attack, I went in for a triple bypass. I couldn't finish, the house is still not done because of what happened and all my medical issues I had. And he never came back, cause when he went there, he said, okay, well, I told him, I got another year and I'll be done. So he just wrote it off. After that year came by, my taxes tripled, figuring that the house is done. The house is still not done, it's far from done. I'm up here now, I just took a break, cause I'm tired of sanding and staining. So I said, I'll go to the meeting and see what's going
Are
on.
you talking about 2019 taxes?
I know I've already missed those, because I had to file the papers, I had talked to,
Well, no,
The second or
let me
third
correct you. I don't think you have
administrator.
missed it. If we're talking 2019 taxes, you've got until, I'm gonna be wrong here, so check it out on me a little bit. I'm thinking March 15th to file a request for abatement.
okay,
Don't hold me to that particular
for a
date.
reassessment, because I had talked to like the second or third administrator ago, and she said he was all booked up, and I tried to get the assessor to come back up there and look. Listen, I'm living in a cellar hole, my house is not done. I'm paying tax on a $600,000 house that's still far from being
If
done.
you're talking about 2019 taxes,
Mm-hmm,
you've got until, again, I ask you not to hold me to it right, but March 15th to file an abatement request.
okay,
You handed it in to us by that date, and now it's in our ballpark.
alright,
We've got until, here again, I'm gonna be wrong, July 30th to either accept or deny your request.
alright,
If we don't do anything by July 30th, you've got an automatic denial. You still have until, here again, I'm gonna be wrong, these dates are what you gotta check out on me.
alright,
September 15th to go to the Board of Land and Tax Appeals, and they're the final.
alright.
In the spring, when you guys, or I think it's spring, you send out that form that everybody has to fill out.
The inventory form.
The inventory
And I've
form.
always filled that out and saying, no, nothing's changed, nothing's been done. The house is not done yet, my taxes. You know, like I said, when the guy first came up, and I told him, I got another year, I'll be done. Then I had a heart attack. I'm not done. I'm still far from being done.
Point of information,
But-
Mr. Chairman.
Okay.
Linda, is that Avatar that he's
Yes.
talking about?
Yes.
Okay.
So are we talking about, we can't go back more than 1 year.
Okay.
So if it's 2018,
No, I mean, 1 year is better than nothing.
yeah, okay.
And I'm still gonna fill out the form for the disability. Like I said, I'm on full disability retirement from the town of
And
Chelmsford.
while you're filling out the form for disability, there's another form for the abatement request.
Okay.
I would get copies of the inventory that you sent too, because if you sent in those inventories saying it's not finished and
Nothing's
they're
been done.
assessing it to you as that, then
Yeah.
you can bring that to the appeals board, you should win.
And we should
If you
have
filled
them
it out
too, I
correctly.
think.
Yeah, I mean, I turn them in every year, so.
What is your last name?
Duchesne, D-U-C-H-E-N-E-A.
So you're within the guidelines for 2019.
Okay.
If my dates are wrong, I don't want to be held accountable to those dates. They're on the form.
I know the first time that I did it, I missed the date. I don't even remember her name, the lady that I talked to then. And, I missed the date, so then it's just gone by because I had more health issues and now I'm healthier, I'm working on the house, you know, I mean, they got my heart running pretty good, so,
Both feet above the ground.
yes. Every day above the ground's a good day.
Select board, where am I here? Oh, ongoing discussions for the town hall, Riverside Park and the gravel pit. Can we pass on that tonight, or do you want to?
Pass on it, but don't lose it.
No, I definitely don't want to lose it. Any other comments? Did you have another question, you said?
Yeah, I got a couple of things I wanted to address with you guys. First of all, you ready?
Yep.
I had to spend, over $4,000 in parts on the International. My budget for that truck is pretty much shot already this year, $7,500 pretty much gone already this year. Let you know that.
Just a little comment. When those issues happen, you've got to come to the board and let us call an emergency meeting to address those issues.
I didn't know till yesterday.
It's okay. Before you commit to spending that money, you just need verbal assurance from somebody
Yep.
on the select board to go ahead with it.
And we can
Okay.
call it, we can call it emergency meeting.
You're gonna get it. We need to go through this
It's
formality.
all right. I mean, I called, we were there, we took it apart, he tested it, I called Liberty International, they had it. I went down and grabbed them.
I'm not
Well,
faulting
is
that.
We worked until 5 yesterday, we were in at 5 this morning, got the truck running at 9:30 to plow with.
We're not faulting any of that
Right.
in the future.
We gotta go by
I know.
that.
We
gotta go
have
by-
to follow procedure.
Yeah, we have to go
We
by
have
that, that guidelines that you
I
already
mean,
know
I
about.
just don't, at that point, I don't really have time to move when we need the truck for plowing the next day.
Did you see the bill for the advertisement that went out?
The advertisement.
Yeah,
That's
where did
all.
that go?
Yeah,
Linda,
I had a good idea how much it was gonna be.
What do you think it's gonna be?
I figured we were gonna spend a couple $1,000.
For the request for advertisement?
Yeah.
It's gonna be, that's only one bill.
Yeah.
You're gonna get another one.
I told Linda, I mean, it didn't surprise
Why
me.
is
one
it
bit.
that high? I could be wrong, $695 for an advertisement in Concord, Monitor.
For a week?
For 1 week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it costs.
Holy smoly.
For what, for request
Yeah.
for bids for the bridge?
Request for qualifications. Yeah.
I wa-
Advertising is sky high.
But I wanna go back. I thought you said you were gonna have somebody come in, I've talked to the road agent, and you were gonna have somebody come in, take a look at it and what it was gonna cost to make the repairs on that truck. I've got that in, I think that's in the meeting minutes, and so
No.
you were gonna have someone come in, cause you had a real problem with the truck, and you were gonna have somebody come in the next day and take a look at it and what it was gonna cost to repair.
So that was, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks ago when we fixed that. That was a
No.
water pump and a thermostat.
no, he's talking about,
We're talking about the $4,000 one, that was just the other day or so, a couple days ago.
That would have been put on my daily, and that's what we did when Kevin came down.
right,
We had to disassemble like the engine.
this is what Omer is referring to.
Okay, so he's not referring minutes, meeting minutes, so.
No.
Well, all I know is if you had an idea of what it was gonna cost to make the repair before you expended the money, you have an obligation to bring that request to the select board for us to, because it's more than, what, $500? It's more than the $500. And you've got to do that. You
Well,
have-
I certainly didn't have time to get a memo together and everything like that.
You do have time to do that, sir. I disagree with you. You do. That's part of your obligation, sir.
The handbook is very, very particular.
Over, can I just speak? Like yesterday morning, we ripped that apart. The whole side of the motor came apart. Both EGR coolers we tested and were bad. He said, can you call and see if anybody's got them? I was desperately trying to get the truck on the road for today. Who wants to plow all our town roads in a little truck? It's impossible. So what I did, we tested them, they were bad. I called Liberty International, the only place you're gonna get them. And they had them. I ran down and got them, and we worked there last night, and I went back in at 5 this morning, and we had it on the road at 9:30. So how do I have time to get a memo together between?
Just a phone call.
Just a phone call. I don't have any doubt in my mind that you'd accept it, but the formality is what's in the handbook. And we have to go by that.
We had some bad experiences with a road agent, a few road agents ago. The town was burned.
We didn't, but,
I understand that.
We need to know in advance of the commitment.
we have guidelines, we gotta stick by it. As soon as you start deviating from them, you've got a precedent.
Well, I guess when I was driving down there yesterday, I should have called.
Yep.
So the other thing is, where do I find, I looked all through the office down there before I came up here. And I'm hoping to have something up here. I got a call today from the American Crane Company. And they're gonna be here tomorrow with a 60,000-pound crane to go across the bridge on Ellsworth Hill. The bridge does not have a weight limit on it. There is no tonnage limit on it. What do I say? Who do I talk to?
What are they going across there for?
They're going to set the cell phone towers. They'll be here by 10 a.m. tomorrow morning.
Give us a bond.
If they don't, he said, I said something, he said, we don't need one. And I said, okay. He's like, I'm just making sure the bridge is, I said, well, I don't know. He's like, he said, is the bridge, can I go across the bridge? I said, there's really no weight limit on it, so I don't know what to tell you. And I said, can you hold off a couple days? And he goes, nope, we'll be there 10 a.m. tomorrow. He goes, if there's no weight limit on it, we're headed across it. I said, so what happens if the bridge collapses? And he goes, it's not our fault, there's no tonnage to it.
There is a weight limit on that bridge. It's set by DOT. I can't say what it is.
So who do I have to call? That's what I'm getting to, because after they're done,
DOT.
after they're done with this 60,000-pound crane, which will probably be by the end of this week, beginning of next, they're coming up with a 125,000 crane to set the rest of it.
We deal with log trucks all the time, and those always run loaded up to 100,000+ pounds.
Well, that's what I'm getting.
And
It's,
so 60,000 pounds with a crane versus just log trucks that have come off of that hill for however many years without any notice.
Have you come off that hill with that much weight?
Everybody has. Everybody's logged up there. There's a couple
That
big
makes
clear
me
cuts,
feel
chip
a little
hands,
better.
100. They come out with it. And they're legal up to 100,000 on the roads. And as far as
Right.
I'm concerned, the town bridges are supposed to hold anything that's legal, unless it's posted otherwise.
How
DOT.
well,
wide,
that he was up here today. That he came up, drove up here to look.
how wide is it? Is he gonna make it without removing
Oh, he
the
said
guardrail?
he's got no problem getting across there widthwise, but the big crane that they're bringing next week is, it's a 5-axle crane.
The property
It's
area now,
huge.
right?
I feel very
Yeah,
confident
plenty of
DOT has a
We
weight
had
limit
like
on that
logging
bridge.
trucks that
We
were that
probably
big,
should
right?
have it posted.
I'm sure that's not even as
So the DOT should post,
robust as the bridge over there, I'm guessing. Yeah.
but they inspect the bridges.
I see. I'm just asking you because I don't know. I really don't. I mean, some of our other bridges are posted, some are, some aren't. But
Well, it sounds like the trucks were going across it, way more than what you.
Yeah, you've already had trucks going across that. Probably when they had a couple big timber sales up there a few years ago. There was Wade Reed and Jason Curtis and et cetera, and they probably ran upwards of 120 or 30,000 pounds
Me too.
and didn't even think about it.
That-
And if you put a limit on that bridge that's lower than a normal truck, anyone who owns land up there that ever wants to log is gonna come fight you, including us, because we have land up there and we gotta be able to take trucks across it.
When I clear cut my place, and I had the road done, Ambrose Brothers come up with a D6 dozer, gigantic, and Kevin and the boys come up from the town, pull the railing off. I mean, that's a lot of weight, that dozer itself, and then the truck carrying the Euclid, the fifth wheel dump
Yeah.
truck.
In the scheme of things, that's a small span bridge.
yeah,
If it can't accommodate legal vehicles, then you need to replace it to accommodate.
I was
legal
scared.
vehicles.
I was scared when you first brought it up, but I feel better now.
yeah. I mean, I didn't think 60,000 pounds is that bad, but 125,000 pound.
No, that's on
Yeah.
tracks too, instead of a truck that's sitting, you have a lot of weight on
125,000
small
pounds.
tires. Yeah.
I just hope I don't.
You got better weight displacement with tracks.
You
Well, no,
want
it's
this
just
side of the
5-axle
bridge.
wheels.
I'm up
Oh,
higher.
is it? Okay. Well,
Yeah,
it's
I'm
huge.
gonna keep
Either
on
way.
this side.
Any other?
My next question. I need to find out, and how do I do it? Who bought the house at the end of Palm Brook Road? They parked their vehicles. The house is right next to the road. They park their vehicles where I turn around, and I don't know if that is their land or if it's town land or what it is, because I cannot plow. Last week when I was up there, I had to back all the way out of there with the big truck. Today I took the little truck in there, and I literally did like a 15-point turn to try to get turned around.
You want some good news?
Yeah,
The road is 3 rods wide. You want some bad news?
if they own the property, you can't do anything
There
about
is
it.
no turnaround.
So that's their property. I can't do anything about it.
Outside of the 3 rods, you can't, no. What are you doing, turn around the dooryard? Are we talking?
Not in their dooryard, at the Pond Brook Road, at the very end.
Yeah,
There's that house that sits right next to the road.
it's up on a hill, right?
Kind of up on the hill, and they have the garage here, and there's a tree right in the middle of, between the garage and the
Almost at
house.
the power line, right?
I'm at the very end of the road, not the very end, but where the town road ends.
Not very far ahead of you is the power line.
I guess, I don't know.
One you see going across.
Yeah. So I was just wondering if, maybe they own the land, I have no idea, but
That's
they don't.
referred to as the old Oxford Road, it's 3 rods wide, and when they discontinued it,
But they don't have anywhere to park, I mean, they'd have to have somebody come and,
technically speaking, they cannot park in the middle of that road.
well, they're not in the middle of the road, they're off the side, but I can't get by.
Are they out of the right of way? Are they more than 25 feet off?
But I
So
can
how do
barely
you
get
turn,
10
how do
foot
you
flat.
turn around in there? You can't turn around
I
inside
just-
of 3 rods.
I just told you, I did like a 15-point turn today, last week I had to back all the way out.
But if they're not there, you can turn around.
Yeah, they've been there, they must have just bought the house, because they've been
There
there.
was a emergency crew up there today.
Yeah.
You know anything about that?
Yeah, they were
was-
before that house.
I was there. Yeah, we turned all the fire trucks around on the road, but like you said.
Yeah, it was up, you were down lower than, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
I told you all I know.
If I may, Mr. Chairman, to answer the
Yes.
the first question was, how does he find out who owns the property up there? And I believe when a deed is recorded up at the registry of deeds, some type of information is provided to the town.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, it would be in the assessing records.
okay, so that would be probably in Deb Zimba's records, okay?
No, it's in my record.
Oh, in your records?
But I don't know the lot number, the street number, you could maybe
No,
find it on the map for me, so I can find out who owns the property.
That's fine, I can come up sometime and do it.
If
Do you
you
know
want,
who, excuse me, Mr. Chairman, do you know who used to own the property before these folks?
I don't know who owned it, but it had been vacant for a long time.
if you
Just
want to
sold.
stick around after the non-public, which shouldn't take a whole lot of time, I can go to that map over there and show you the map lot and block number that you and I can identify, and I think it'd be an easy task. Then we can go to the indexing book and, find the owner without going through anything outside of here.
Do you think you'd have the owner's name in there already? Because it literally just got bought in the last month or so. That's what I'm afraid of.
Well, I probably have a deed. that
Well, you may not have it yet, if it's in the last month.
Yeah, it's only been a month or so.
You did, okay, all right. And it should list on the deed what road the property is
Yeah, I'll
on.
take.
But getting the next to the last owner would be easy.
I just have a feeling they own the property. I just have a feeling.
Where they're parking.
Yeah, I have a feeling they own that property.
Is it that one right there at the end, 68?
That's it.
Pond Brook Road?
What is it?
68 Pond Brook Road,
Yeah.
according to this map, is the last house.
Okay.
What's up?
Any other issues need to come before the public? Before the board?
Safe travels.
If there is no objection, I'll entertain a motion to go into our non-public relative to, issues that have to do with potential reputation. I can't quote the exact details, but, we know what we're talking about, right?
Yep.